Here's how to complete commercial cleaning walkthroughs that win commercial cleaning clients. Because the reality of it is that 80% of the decision for good commercial cleaning contracts is made at the walkthrough by the client. If you get this wrong, you're gonna struggle getting contracts. So let's dive in and make you some money. Let's get the basics out of the way and go over prep, which is tools, context, dress, and arrival. With regards to tools, you're gonna want a laser measurer right here. This is my favorite one. I've used it for years. It's fantastic. It allows you to get square footage instead of just taking measurements of one side and another side. It actually will do the math for you. It's wonderful. And then you have your folder. Make sure it's a nice folder, not just one of those paper books from Walmart or something. Make sure it's leather and it looks good. It looks like you're a professional. You have pens, ideally 2 pens. That way, if they need a pen for any reason, you can hand them one. And then you got your materials, right? Your business cards and any information on your company that you want to bring. Now for context, this is the most forgotten part and one of the most important parts of the quote walkthrough. This is doing the company research, Googling them, looking them up on Facebook, looking up their LinkedIn page, looking up the individual that you're meeting with and anyone else that you know about that you could be meeting with, understanding everything that you can about them. What's the mission of the company? What are the roles of the individuals? What do they value? You want to know all these things. You don't need to know how you're going to use it yet, but these things are going to help you whenever you go there and you start having conversation and you do put together the proposal. All these things are going to help you come across even more professional and like you are there to be on their team and solve their problems. So make sure you just look them up and build context. And then we've got dress. Look, if I look like I just rolled off the couch in my cut open jeans with paint on them, with a hoodie on, do I look like the kind of guy that you're gonna wanna pay tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars to clean your facility? Probably not. Be sure you look sharp. I wear slacks with button-ups like this. You don't have to go out there in a 3-piece suit or a tuxedo or anything like that. Just look sharp. You can wear your logo, you can wear khakis, look like you're put together. And then for arrival, we want to be there 15 minutes early. Here's the deal. If you're going into very good customer facilities, they're usually very busy, right? You're going to have waiting lines if it's a medical facility. You're going to have guard shacks for industrial and manufacturing. You're going to have vendor check-ins if it's government. You're going to have all these different factors you need to consider. Plus, you don't know how traffic is going to be. Be sure to be there early. Do not be there on time. To be on time is to be late. To be early is to be on time. Keep that in your mind. Make sure if you have any salespeople going out that they are 15 minutes early at least to their sales appointments. All right, we got the prep out of the way. Now let's get into the meat of the walkthroughs. Let's lay some ground rules first before you actually go in. Rule number 1 is be in control of the meeting. What I mean by that is be the one asking the most questions. If you're not asking the questions, then it doesn't look like you're really trying to understand them or that you even know what to ask or that you know what you're doing. To actually help you out with this, I've made a download that you can get down below in the description that actually lays out all the different things we're about to talk about here in just a moment. So you have that outline and you can take your measurements and look really professional as you go through and measure the facility and gauge what services they need. Now let's say the person you're meeting with is asking a lot of questions and you still want to maintain that sense of professionalism and control over the meeting. The best thing you can do is respond to their question with a question. For example, if a customer asks me, tell me about what you all do in your services, I would then ask them, I would love to tell you about that, but first help me understand a little bit about the service you've been receiving. How do they provide the service? What aspects do you appreciate? What do you not like? Let them then answer my question. Then I can respond to their question in a way that is tailored to what they are wanting based on what they're not getting. So you can use that trick by answering a question with a question, therefore maintaining control, and then you can guide and steer the meeting based on the sheet or whatever guide you're using to keep the meeting going. Number 2 is get them to express. You are not there to throw all your information at them. You are there to be a pain detective, a problem sniffer. Sometimes if there's not a really burning problem, it's not the best customer situation, but you might have someone that's just wanting a better partnership. So what's the dream? You want to find out what their wants are and get them to express those wants as vividly as possible, asking them questions about, explain more about that. Do you mean this? Keep unpacking that more for me. What do you mean by that? Keep unpacking what they really want and get them to express. Where a lot of cleaning services go wrong is they walk into a meeting and the customer will ask them some questions. Maybe they'll ask some questions back to the customer, and then they just give them business cards, they give them flyers, and they start telling them about all their benefits and all the unique things that they do. The customer turns off, right? They can only handle so much coming in. They're busy throughout their day. They just want the problem handled. They want to feel like they've expressed and they feel understood by you, and that you understand what they really want. That's the sensation that you want to give them and the experience that you want to give them. So hold off on throwing all your info at them right now. Wait for the right moment. What you want to do is make sure that they feel properly expressed and understood. And the third ground rule is don't forget what they do express and what they actually want. We are not there to upsell them the moon, right? We're there to give them what they want to solve the problem that they want. Now, if they do want your expert opinion on how you should treat a certain situation, or if there's any other considerations and any other services they should think about, then you can introduce those things and the benefits of those things. But if you start talking about things that they haven't talked about and things that they don't want, immediately it's going to turn them off, and they're not going to be as open to those solutions. So stick with what they want. Now that we've got the ground rules placed, we can walk in the facility, and when we see the customer, we want to warm them up. How do you properly warm them up? It's very simple and very straightforward. First, you want to be the one to lean in and offer the handshake first. This shows that you're there to control the situation, not in a bad way or in a domineering way. This is just you showing, I am confidently here to help you solve your problem. And second, you just want to make some sort of friendly comment, whether that's about their office space or about the weather or about something personal, right? You got to build some sort of personal relationship, just barely, before talking business. Once you've done that, then you can move to actually setting the expectations for the meeting. The way we set expectations is we want to lay out the roadmap to success for them, how they can see that their problem is going to be solved. So the first thing that I'm going to tell them right after warming them up and getting introduced is I'm going to say, here's how we like to do this. We want to understand where you're at, where you've been, any of the current situations that are going on right now. And then we need to go out and actually walk through the facility, take some measurements, see any of the areas that we discuss, and talk about any solutions. We're going to take all that information back to our office and put together a custom solution for you. And that's when we can begin moving forward. So if you don't mind, I've got a few questions that we need to answer real quick before we start walking through the facility. Do you have just a moment? And usually they're always going to say yes, right? If this is a good meeting that's been set up properly by your staff or your marketing, they're going to want to take the time and spend it with you discussing what they need. Now, see, I'm in control of the meeting. I'm guiding the process. The client knows what to expect and how we operate. They're looking forward to their path to success in solving their problem. Now, when we go to their office or wherever we're going to meet, I have the walkthrough checklist, which you can download in the description below, and that is what I'm going to use to guide this conversation. Here's what we're going to cover. We're going to go over the hot points or the pain. This is what is the actual problem they're having. I like to ask, why did you give us a call? What prompted you to seek another cleaning service? What prompted you to get a quote or to open this bidding process? And unpack it from there. Don't just take their first answer of, oh, we just aren't happy with the cleaning. Okay, explain to me what's been going on. And when they say, the supplies haven't been getting refilled consistently, or they're just a trash and grab. They just grab the trash and go, right? They don't actually do any cleaning. Then you can unpack more. How long has this been going on? What has this costed you in man hours of other people having to step in within your staff and take care of this? How much headache has this caused? What solutions have you pursued? You really want to unpack this with the customer. That way they start feeling that pain, because how much they feel the pain, they're going to equate how much hope they have for you in solving that pain. So the deeper the pain, the more hope they'll have, and the better you look as coming in and solving the problem. Next, you have their decision timeline. The best way to ask this, if they're in a lot of pain, is to ask, so how soon do you want to have this problem solved? That is a great place to be if you have properly unpacked the problem. The other important factors about having a decision timeline is, when you submit the proposal, how long you should wait for an answer. You know what your follow-up process should likely be and how long you should wait. All those different things can really be determined by the decision timeline. And here's a nugget for you: holidays and closings. Get them to clarify what days their facilities are actually closed or what days they are not actually going to be needing any sort of cleaning. This helps a lot because whenever they do close, and if you did not discuss this beforehand, they might ask for their money back because they did not get any cleaning on those days. But if you discussed their holidays and closings ahead of time and already considered it into your bid price, then you aren't gonna have to deal with the weird accounting side or losing any money based on those days. You can just keep your monthly billings the same at all times. So be sure to talk about holidays and closings with them up front and have a record of it. And then we can actually get their budget many times, about 50-50, sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less. But what you want to ask is, what's your budget to solve this problem? If they're in a lot of pain, they're probably going to give you a number. They're probably at least going to get you what they've been paying the current cleaners. They may even admit that they're underpaying. That's gold, and you won't find out until you actually ask it. If they don't tell you a budget, that doesn't mean that the subject is dead. You can absolutely ask, how flexible is your budget? Because clearly there's something going on. We just want to be sure that there is some room in order to actually solve the problem. And most of the time, if you follow up with that flexibility statement, you can at least have some sort of conversation around the budget, whether they give you a number or not. And sometimes they will then give you a number after asking that second question. Now, after you've asked for the hot points and the pain, the decision timeline, holidays, closings, budgets, all that good stuff, then we can ask for a few more finer things to help exert our expertise in the area. We can ask for their current scope. Many times customers have these on hand. Sometimes it even shows how long the current company takes. It's very useful, and you can use that as a tool to actually walk through their scope and point out anything that might not be getting done well as you walk through the facility, or anything that they might want added or taken off. There again, having that flexibility regarding the budget, right? You can customize a solution just for them. And then be sure to discuss supplies. How do they want those handled? By supplies, I mean paper towels, toilet paper, consumable things, right? Things that their customers and their staff use throughout the facility. Which ones are you gonna restock? Which ones are your team gonna request to be ordered more of? What is the request process? Who pays for the supplies? How is that gonna work if you pay for the supplies? Is the client gonna receive an invoice from you or in some other way? Be sure that everyone's on the same page with how supplies and consumables are gonna work. And then the last major item is waste removal. Where does the waste get taken to? Are there dumpsters on site? What day are those dumpsters emptied? Do they have separate recycling and trash dumpsters? Do they have compost? You'd be surprised at how many waste removal processes are not as simple as just taking out the trash. So now those are the major areas within the commercial cleaning walkthrough checklist. Let's actually now go walk through the facility. What are we gonna measure? What are we gonna look at? What are we gonna talk about? You've got 4 main goals with the actual analysis walk after greeting and meeting in their office. When you're going through the facility, you're there to build confidence, twist the knife. What I mean by that is, what pains they talked about? Show me. Give me the story. Is this it right here? Oh wow, what about that right there? You want to twist that knife on the pain. You also want to know what to measure and calculate, and then you're going to actually do things that are going to protect yourself and your service. So when it comes to calculating the facility, we are actually going to measure every single room that we can. Now, in a medical facility, which is the way we started our business, we weren't actually able to walk the entire facilities every single time because there were patients in a lot of the rooms, right? So what we did is we measured every room that we could, every hallway that we could, every office that we could. But for clinical areas, we would then measure one clinical room and then multiply that by the number of clinical rooms that there were. Of course, we'd ask if that was the average size or if there are any bigger or smaller ones or any other ones that we could look at. But if worse came to worse and we couldn't get into every single other one, we would at least get an average of one and multiply it by the number of clinical rooms. We also want to get a general square footage of the entire space along with the detailed square footage. That way we can account for anything that we may have missed in those averages. This is where having that laser measurer that can automatically measure square footage for you is extremely handy, because we need to also record the floor type, because different floor types require different cleaning methods. Cleaning carpet is not the same as cleaning tile, right? Our production rates are going to be different. Our equipment's going to be different. We need to know what that's going to look like and what the actual cost is going to be on our side in time, labor, and materials. You're also going to count desks, toilets, sinks, panes of glass, and anything else that you're going to need to take care of on a pretty regular basis throughout the facility. You can batch things together. For example, a desk means we're going to need to pull out the chair and vacuum or sweep and mop under it at some point, right? We're also going to need to dust that desk and any shelving in that area. A desk presence also means there's a trash can. So you can batch things together by counting one unit like that instead of counting bunches of different things that all collect together. And then finally, while we're measuring the facility and taking note of all these things, we want to start taking pictures and photos as we go through, but also in such a way to protect ourselves. For example, looking at baseboards, dust buildup, at the ceiling and intake vents. There have been multiple occasions where a client has taken us to a sink, for example, and they say, look at how dirty this sink is. And then we try to clean it with whatever's on hand, and we're not able to get it up with what's on hand either. And it's clear that it's in the porcelain of the sink. It needs a whole other level of cleaning, or the sink just needs replaced. You want to be sure that whenever your service starts there, that they aren't going to complain to you about that exact same thing. You want to show them by your expertise that that's something that needs something completely different as far as a scope of service. So protect yourself, make sure you're aware of anything that's going on in the facility or that's currently present before your team comes in. Now you've completed the analysis walkthrough, you've built confidence with them, they've got their knife twisted a little bit, they're really excited to have you come in, they've seen you take measurements and photos, then you seem like an expert to them. It's time to close the meeting in such a way to where you are most likely going to win their business. What you want to do is get their permission to develop a solution together for their facility. What that looks like is this. Thanks for investing the time with me today to walk through the facility and to explain some of the issues you're having. We can absolutely take care of you as we discussed. What I'm going to do is take this information back to our office, put a solution together for you and send it over as a proposal. What I'd like for you to do is review that and let me know if there's any adjustments that we need to make or if there's anything that we're far off from with regards to pricing. Let me know. I want to work with you. Let's develop a solution together. What that does is it continues the conversation with you leading the way, right? And they're not going to immediately shut down your proposal if there's anything that they're not totally thrilled about with it, right? You might be a little bit high on price. You might have something in there that they didn't expect. They might want to add something to it. Instead of shutting yours down and accepting someone else's, they're going to talk with you about that. You want to keep the communication going and set their expectations to do that. Now it's finally time to give them our business card and any information that we have, but the way we do it is key. The position we want to take when giving them our information is like we're doing them a favor. Here's what that looks like. In the meantime, here's my card and some extra info on us. If you have any questions, you can reach out directly to me. Now, at this point, when you leave the meeting, you've controlled the situation, you've left them feeling good and hopeful about the proposal you're going to send to them, and they're ready to coordinate on a solution with your service. Now you're ready to go back to your office and close the deal and win their business and add another commercial cleaning contract to your business. And there you have it. That's how to complete commercial cleaning walkthroughs and win even more commercial cleaning contracts for your business. If you want to grab our template for commercial cleaning walkthroughs, it's in the description down below at commercialcleaningsceo.com. My name is Matt Pinkarena. I built a multi-million-dollar commercial cleaning company from scratch in less than 5 years. Please share this video with anyone who you think might find it helpful. And if you or them have any questions, you can drop a comment in the comment section below. And if you want more walkthroughs for your commercial cleaning company, watch this video on how to do marketing that generates even more leads for your business.